What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Boleros. Sam here with the Sultan of Sando, Mr. Gablim, and the Prophet himself, Mr. Maui Yap. And today we are going to do part 2 of our top 10 UAAP players for the heading into season 89. If you haven't seen the part 1, please check that out. We discussed Gab's top 5 players for heading into season 89. It was a very interesting discussion for the three of us, so we decided to split the top 10 list and do part 2 where we'll talk about numbers 6 to 10. But before we look into Gab's list, we do want to mention our sponsor for season 89. And our sponsor for today, Get Blued. So, Gab, take it away.
So once again, is sponsored by Get Blued / Varsity Lifestyle and TeamAteneo.com. And since Ateneo is eligible for season 89 and the support of the Ateneo community is needed for the Blue Eagles this upcoming season, Get Blued has made the 6-man line and also the one Ateneo line. So they are available in getbluedonline.com. We'll be linking the online store in the description below. And to get 10% off your order, you can use our code Boleros upon checkout. And also, for those fans of the other teams, we still have that same discount code for varsitylifestyle.com. So if you plan to get some merch for the upcoming UAP season, go get yours at varsitylifestyle.com. If you weren't able to cop a championship shirt for the De La Salle Green Archers, you still can. Discounted pa sa varsitylifestyle.com.
All right. So, if you don't have your merch yet and you're getting ready for season 89, bili na kayo sa Varsity Lifestyle or sa Get Blued. Use the promo code Boleros. Thank you once again to Get Blued and to Varsity Lifestyle for sponsoring this episode. Okay, Gab, let's do a recap siguro muna of your top 5 players dun sa mga hindi pa nakinig. Spoiler alert, nandito na sa screen. So, stop this episode kung hindi mo pa napapanood yung part 1. Gab, recap.
Yeah, so at number 1, the best player heading into UAAP season 89, I think it's Jacob Cortez of the De La Salle Green Archers. Number 2 is Colin Sakoe of the USC Growling Tigers. Number 3 and 4 is Kirby Mokopa and Mo Konate, respectively, from the FEU Tamaraos. And at number 5 is Ray Remogat. You might disagree with me. You might agree. Please let us know. You can check out our reasonings and our own rankings in our previous episode. All right, so watch that. Okay, at number 6, and I will end the disrespect for the reigning MVP because I have him at number 6. It's John Ray Pasaol of the FEU Tamaraos. It's kind of crazy that in our top 6, three of them are from FEU, but it just I think it's a function of
Crazy.
it's crazy, but it's a function of, I think, two things. One, obviously talent. They are 3 pretty good players, and number 2, these 3 play heavy minutes. I think FEU plays the heaviest minutes of their starting 5, so they will get a ton of numbers. I think they're projected to win more games this upcoming season and fight for a Final Four slot. So I think it's pretty warranted, and it would be hard to argue against having these 3 guys in any sort of top 10 list for the upcoming season, just because they put up so much numbers, they play so much minutes, they have the ball in their hands a lot of the time, and it's FEU. That's how Coach Sean Chambers runs the team. Heavy minutes for their top guys. I don't know if that will be the same thing now that they have a more capable bench, but we'll see. So yeah, John Ray, reigning MVP, I think led the league in assists last season. another guy with a pretty good stat line. He rebounds the ball pretty well for a guard, scores a ton of points, gets to the free throw line a lot, and that's pretty important for a guy of his size, for a point guard of his size. His mid-range shooting has improved. His three-point shooting is still a bit inconsistent, but he can shoot it. Uh, but yeah, along with Kirby Moncopa, they're the two guys who run this offense. The offense rarely used to revolve around Joric Bautista, but now with more capable playmakers around him, si Joric has been more of that off the ball guy, yung catch and shoot. He still gets the ball in crunch time, especially against Ateneo. Screw you, Joric. But uh, John Ray Pasol and Kareem Moncopa will definitely be the main cogs and be the main engines running the offense of the FEU Tamaraos, and it will lead to a lot of numbers. I won't be surprised if he'll be in the mythical five again, and not Jacob Cortez. Uh, just because of the amount of stats he can put up. But yeah, I couldn't put him above Noire Mogat. I still think Noire Mogat is a better player right now. He's a better shooter. He orchestrates the pick and roll way better than John Ray Pasaol. Um, he can get to the free throw line as well, and he can get to his floaters. See, John Ray is the same, but he's not as good of a shooter as Noire Mogat, not as good of an orchestrator as Noire Mogat. So yeah, I have John Ray here. Maui Sam. Maui, go ahead.
Yeah, I had si John Ray as part of my top 10 but not this high. Kaya nagagalit si Joric Bautista sa atin tatlo eh.
Oo
Binabawi
nga.
natin
I
ngayon.
was gonna say.
Because we have 3 of his teammates in the top 10. But yeah, the player I chose for my number 6 slot is actually also from the UP Fighting Maroons. And I would have to pick si Francis Norupa, who I think should also be FSA 1 for UP. Much like last off-season when we clamored so hard that si Konate should be FSA priority, I think si Noruka also has been the same based on what I've watched so far in the off-season. But yeah, I agree with si Pasaol. He should be part of the top 10. He was the MVP. He was only in his second season. He is that important on both ends of the floor. He is, I think, yung heart ng FEU. He brings the energy, brings the angas. He playmakes. He makes sure that the offense is running smoothly, and he makes sure that everybody eats their dinner. Diba? Joric Bautista gets to shoot threes. Konate gets some easy baskets. Simon Copa gets the ball in his spots. And I think he's also a very important player for FEU. And I'm interested to see how he does now that Simon Copa also facilitates the offense. So let's see if he can have a mythical 5 type of season still. Maybe he surprises us and becomes a back-to-back MVP. Who knows?
Maybe. Sammy.
Yeah, I had Janre on my list, pero actually he's number 9, number 10 on my list.
Wow, the disrespect continues.
Yes. So actually, I had him number 10, lumped together with a bunch of people at number 10. But dahil MVP siya last year, I moved him up to number 9. But really, I wanted to put him down to number 10. Only because I tried not to put more than 2 players from each team. So but because he was MVP, I put him up there. So I also had 3 guys from FEU. Uh yeah, I mean, nothing to add. Reigning MVP, that says something. I think he's still the best, one of the best guards in the UAAP this coming season. Sila lang naman ni Kirby talaga yung magiging playmakers for FEU. We'll get a ton of usage for sure. But natatakot talaga ako dahil I put Joric Bautista at number 10 just to show some respect to the Ateneo killer, the Mr. Fourth Quarter clutch, Joric Bautista.
Dahil sa takot. Interesting yung Francis Noruka na sinabi mo, Maui. I will have a lot to say about Francis later on. So, maybe a teaser about Francis Noruka. So, at number 7, I have also from the UP Fighting Maroons, but not Francis Noruka. It's a former FEU Tamaraw. So maybe there are four FEU Tamaraws in our top 10. I have their barkada, si Erp,
Erp!
VJ Pre.
I completely forgot about Pre. Yeah, si Pre
Ah,
nga
kaya
pala.
nagtataka
He's in
ako.
UST.
Nagtataka ako.
In
Okay.
UP, I mean.
Okay. Nagtaka ako eh.
Oh yeah,
Bakit
so
hindi mo
I
binigay
have
siya?
VJ Pre at number 7. Why is he down here at 7 and not in the top 5? Well, he's only option number 2
Mm-hmm.
on the UP Fighter News. Maybe even on some games, he'll be option number 3 or number 4 because of how stacked UP's roster is. So it depends, but I still believe in the talent. Uh, I think he's gonna be deadly in the fast break. He's gonna be shooting more threes. Defense is still a question mark. I don't know yet if he can hang defensively with the UP Fighting Maroons, but the talent is still there. The three level scoring, the ball handling at his height, the touch from mid range, and even now from 3 point range, I think is pretty valuable. He's gonna put up numbers. He's gonna grab rebounds, playmaking. Yun yung isang kulang ni VJ. I don't think he's gonna do that much. It's gonna be more of si Remogat and maybe even si Baila who does some playmaking. But scoring wise, uh, halos sa complete player na scoring wise. But uh, yeah, I think he's still going to be one of the top players. I still believe in the talent of VJ Pre. I want him to transition into a three man. I don't know if it's possible here at UP given the amount of wings that UP has, but I do hope he eventually gets there. I do think he has that skill set.
Yeah, I had VJ Pre in my top 5. So he was the fifth guy in my top 5. So ako lang yung naglagay kay VJ Pre in the top 5. I'm high on him just because I think he's also like a Kirby Moncopa light. He actually during our interview, I don't know on air or off air na natin pinag-usapan yun. He tried to pattern his game or adapt his game similar to Moncopa's. When Moncopa got injured, he had to replace Moncopa nung sa juniors team nila, 'di ba? So it's for me it's like a Moncopa light. He's Gabby mentioned I think the second or sometimes maybe the third best player in UP, which is one of the top contenders. So I give him credit for that. Also, he had a very rough start to the off season, but after we called him out on this show dahil alam natin friend of Boleros yan, nakikinig ng Boleros yan, I think, started to show
Walang
up
I
and
think.
dominate.
Sure ako nakikita yung Napoleros yan, Sam. Anong I
Sure,
think?
sure, sure. So started to show up and dominate, and I think led the team in scoring in Phil Oil. Also led the team in or was part of the top 3, top 4 in other stats similar to Moncopa. So he can stuff the stat sheets then. So I was a bit higher on VJ Pre. Erp.
Okay. At number 8, I have Mr. Mark Liemet from the UST Growling Tigers. Uh, I thought of him and Asido, and I was thinking which one should I put here. I'm going with Liemet again. Similar with my top 4. I'm valuing two-way play. Mark Liemet before becoming, the main perimeter option here for UST was a defensive stopper. He was the one assigned by Coach Pido to uh, get the toughest matchup on the perimeter. He was the one, um, tasked to guard Harold Alarcon when he was on fire. Now he was cooked by Harold Alarcon for majority of his matchups, but he's still one of the primary option. And I think for this upcoming season, he's gonna guard the best player on the opposing team, no matter what. And in addition to guarding the best offensive player on the opposing team, he is going to get the ball in his hands a lot more this upcoming season. I think he's option number two behind Colin Sakoe. Uh, Asido at times, but from what I've seen in the preseason, it's mainly si Mark Liemet. They give the ball a lot to Mark Liemet to orchestrate the offense. Si Asido might be the better shooter. I think Clement is the better uh, downhill scorer, penetrator. He gets to the line more. He's not a bad shooter himself. Not as efficient as Amenacido, but yeah, in terms of priority on the USC Growling Tigers, I think he's ahead of Amiel Acido. So I foresee a big season for Mark Clement and maybe the Prince Tiger because the king is si Colin Sakoe. So, yun lang. Maui, go ahead.
Dito tayo nagkakatalo because I think the list is starting to get crazy, yung 6 to 10. I did not have Mark Limit as part of my top 10, but he was part of my honorable mention list. He's a great two-way player, but I'm a wait and see how he expands his game come season time. Will he be able to carry over what he has shown in the preseason? I actually edited my list after that VJ Pre,
Nakalimutan
forgetting
si
VJ
Erp.
Pre. So, si VJ Pre will be my number 10 na lang. I'll bump off another one to my honorable mention, which we can also discuss later. But yeah, I think Mark Lemit's a good choice, diba? If there's a guy that really showed last season he could break out if the two top guns are out, diba? It has to be Mark Lemit. But I had another UST Growling Tiger in my top 10. Let's see later.
I think I know who it is, but we'll see later. Sammy, Mark Clement.
I had Mark Limit in bunched up with a ton of people at number 10. So,
So, honorable
kumbaga,
mention.
10 slash honorable mention siya, basically. I had a different UST player also on my list who is higher than Mark Lemit, who is also not Amiel Acido. So I think you know who it is. But I think by the end of their careers, honestly, I think Amiel Acido might be the best player here. So I was really tempted to put Amiel also in this position. Maybe next year. Or maybe by the end of the season. Not even next year. By the end of the season. Nandito na si Acido na to. Maybe.
All right. I'm not sure why the slide is not
Parang hindi
updating.
gumagalaw. Sige lang. So number 8 is Limit, right? Number
Yeah.
9 na tayo.
At number 9, I had Reinhard Umamoy from the NU Bulldogs. Nakagulat ulit si
Free
Mami.
reign.
Free reign. Yeah. You talk about engines of an offense. I think he's going to be the engine of NU's offense. And I think NU is going to compete for the Final Four slot. We all talked about how surprised we were of NU in the preseason and how much they have improved. And as they got more guys, more main rotation guys back into their lineup. Uh, I think Reinhard is bound for a big season. Finally, after I think this is his fourth season already in the UAAP, uh, he's gonna get a lot of assists. He's gonna score a lot without a doubt. He's gonna get a ton of shots, a ton of opportunity. I don't think Tebol Garcia is taking away that job from him based on what I've seen in the preseason. It seems like Coach Jeff Napa is fully on the rain train. So uh, I think this is it. The breakout is here. The potential that I saw when he was the MVP in the juniors division is here. I think si Humamoy is bound for a great season. I talked about shooting range. He has next to Rimogat, perhaps one of the longest shooting ranges in the UAAP. He launches it from way out there, and he's gonna get a ton of opportunity. He has the license to do so now. He's gonna run pick and roll a lot. Maybe him and Palacella will take turns running the offense, but it's the two of them. I can't foresee anyone supplanting him for playmaking duties. Uh, I'm sorry to insan si Paul Francisco. I'm sorry to uh, si Tebol. I'm sorry to si Jid Locsin, who I
Jid
love.
Locsin, your favorite.
Yeah, he's not taking over the job from Reinhard Humamo. I think this is Reinhard Humamoy's team now, along with PJ. So yun. Uh, I I'm interested who you got ahead of Reinhard Humamoy.
Actually, one of the players that I had on my top 10 that's not named Humamoy is his teammate who you just mentioned, si Palasielo. I think it's interchangeable, diba? Whoever will be the leader of that team. I think the question with Humamoy is how many times kaya kakamot ng ulo si Coach Jeff with those long bumps. I think we'll be seeing Steve Kerr type of reactions from Coach Jeff after those long bumps by Humamoy. But if the offseason is any indication, it is really his team to and his usage to lose. I think si Humamoy is primed to finally have that breakout season that everybody has been waiting for. Since he an MVP, the juniors division, or a finals MVP? I don't know which one, but the hype was real. It's finally real for Reiner Dumamoy. I think if there's a season to break out, this has to be that make or break season for him. Third year.
I think he was the season MVP, Maui, because they lost in the finals.
Oo nga. To FEU. Yeah, so I mentioned, so you have Humamoy as number 9. I had his rival John Ray Pasaol as number 9. I had Reinhard as my honorable mentions, but I do agree with Maui. I think interchangeable si Humamoy tsaka si PJ Palacielo. I actually put Palacielo at number 8 on my list. I think he's going to be the main go-to guy for NU. We saw it last year actually, or last season, especially when Figueroa had to sit down. They would go to Palacielo in the post to make a play or score. So I think that's going to be something that we're going to see more. I just really like PJ Palacielo also, but you can really like just put Humamoy and Palacielo together, to be honest with you. I think it's really those two that's going to have to carry a ton of the load for NU. But to be fair to your pick, Gab, I think Humamoy was the scoring leader. I think in Phil Oil or Asia Basket. So
He had
makes
so
sense.
many players of the games
Yeah.
in the preseason. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that's an indication that they're all in on Reynaldo Mamoy being that number one offensive option. For those na magrereklamo, why didn't you have your boy, Gab, si PJ Palacelo?
Your
Reynaldo Mamoy
boy.
was my boy also in high school. I was hyped for this guy. I love this guy's game. So
That
they're both
didn't
my
sound right.
boys. It didn't sound right, but you know, they're my boys.
Baka pasaol ano na lang, pasaol ano, leap si Reiner Dumamoy for
Yeah.
this season.
Could
Yes.
be. Sana.
Yan. Nag-appear na yung
Number
list ko.
10
Alright.
and then honorable mentions, Gab.
Number 10, I think you alluded to him kanina, Maui and Sam. Also from the UST Growling Tigers is Jello Crisostomo. Yeah, I think he won't be a main offensive option, but he'll be that guy you look up in the stat sheet at the end of a game and he'll have like what 13 points. He'll grab like 9 to 10 rebounds. He'll get 4 to 5 assists. He'll get 2 steals and he'll have 3 blocks.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you just won't notice it because he has flashier teammates in Colin Sokoe. He has a flashier teammate who gets the ball in his hand in Mark Lemet and Amel Asido, but he'll do so many things on the court. He won't handle the ball as much. I think he's very similar to Kirby Moncopa. He does so many things on the court, but si Kirby has the ball
Mm-hmm.
in his hands. The offense runs through Kirby for like 50 to 60% of the time next to Janre. They don't run much offense for Jello Crisostomo. but he is so important to this team. He plays backup center at times. He plays a stretch four. His shooting, which has improved a ton, is so important to this UST Growling Tigers team just to give space to Colin Sakoe. His defensive versatility, he can guard 1 through 5, legit guard 1 through 5. And he can put up numbers like this. Yung in a snap, in a snap, he can do so many things on the court. Um, I think if UST is to make a championship push, they'll have to get the version of Jello Crisostomo that we all know he can be. That all around Swiss Army knife guy, uh, will stop multiple plays on the other end, will get defensive stops, will make the dirty plays if necessary, will make the big plays. So yeah, uh, I actually, just to be honest, I actually forgot about him. He was my yung VJ pre, Maui. Until I think later this afternoon, yung napag-isipan ko, yung habang nagkakape ako, o ano, yung nakalimutan ko si Jello Crisostomo. Sige, ilagay ko na siya.
Maui.
Maui.
Yeah, I think si Crisostomo is actually my number 9 sa list. And then si Pre is my number 10. Si Crisostomo is a guy that I've been raving about for a couple of seasons already. And I think this is his last season, if I'm not mistaken. So
Yes.
he has to take that leap. Diba? He has to show that he has really developed his game and he can transition to the wing. Because I think if he can, the sky's the limit. He could be a Gilas player. He could play in Korea or in Japan if it continues to expand his game. So I'm excited to see but based on what I've seen sa preseason, I'm excited to see how he expands how he really shows out yung game niya and yung expansion niya. I was so impressed that yung improved playmaking niya during the preseason. And I think it will be very crucial now that UST has a lot more weapons. I think the scoring in UST will be more balanced than it was a season ago. I think the playmaking opportunities will also be more balanced, and I think si Jello Crisostomo will get a better chance to break out this season than last. Yeah, I think si Pre was my 10. So ang 6 to 10 ko, I'll have to say lang is Noruka, Palacielo, Pasaol, Crisostomo, and Pre. I bumped off
Wow.
my number 10.
Ako lang yung walang PJ sa top 10. Oh my God, I'm so
Oo nga,
disappointed
no?
in
Oo
myself.
nga, no? Oo nga.
Iba na kwento,
Gab,
iba na kwento.
Iba na. Nagbago ka na, Gab. Nagbago ka na. Yeah, so I picked Jello Crisostomo as the second best UST player also. I actually had him as number 6. So siya yung sinasabi ko, I was debating between
Wow.
him and Konate. Him and Konate in 6 and 7. I
Wow.
bumped up
Okay.
Crisostomo
Okay.
number 6. I think I picked him as my breakout player last season. I think last season, during the preseason last year, was really when he sort of skyrocketed, started showing yung 3-point game niya, also a bit of the playmaking. I'm really high on Jello Crisostomo. I just love yung size niya and versatility. Gab, you mentioned it already, but I remember Maui specifically mentioning this then during the MVP episode, the awards episode. Jello Crisostomo is like a Kirby Moncopa light. That's why I'm so high on him then, because I really like Moncopa. I like Jello Crisostomo also. I really think he could be a Gilas player. I think he played Gilas 3-on-3 already. So, nandun na yun. I know I'm talking to a couple of friends like LaSalle fans also who are really high on Jello Crisostomo. That's why I picked him. And I just love like highly versatile wings, highly versatile guys like Jello Crisostomo. So I'm excited for him. I really hope he continues to improve and show out, especially since it's his last year and wala na si Nick Caballero eh. So after Collins Akowe, I'm hoping it's Jello Crisostomo. So just to recap, my top 6 to 10, it's Crisostomo, Konate, Palacielo, Pasaol. Actually, hindi pa pala na-mention yung number 10. But, sige, I'll give it to Humamoy. I'll give it to Humamoy over Mark Liemet.
Wow. PJ Palacielo, ang taas. Sige, I'll talk about PJ later. Okay, so to to recap my 6 to 10, so it's Pasaol, 7 si VJ Pre, number 8 si Mark Liemet, and number 9 si Reynaldo Mamoy, and at number 10 si Jello Crisostomo. On to my honorable mentions, or the guys I considered for this top 10 list. And siguro we can show the screen ulit, Sammy. Yeah. So next on my, I did have the honorable mentions on this list, and I do wanna mention that your number 6, Maui, is right here, Francis Noruka. Now I didn't put him in I was considering it. I was considering putting Noruka in my top 10. The only thing I can go against is I don't even know if he's playing all the games. He might be playing
Yeah.
7 games this season. I don't know what UP is going to do. I let it be known here on this podcast that I support Francis Noruka playing ahead of Deontay Miles in every game. But that's not how UP has done it in the preseason. He's played, Coach Gold has played Miles in one game, he's played Noruka in another. I don't know which way they're gonna go.
Good point.
It could be that Noruka plays only 6 to 7 games for the entire season. I don't think he can be a top 10 player. Diba? We also just got news that he was injured. That's why he didn't participate in the AUBL. So what is his status for UAAP season 89? So with all that being said, I could not put him in my top 10. I still believe in the talent. I think he's a incredible offensive player. His athleticism is a big weapon. His rim protection is top notch. I think he's one of the best rim protectors in the league.
Good free
He's
throw shooter.
a good free throw shooter. He's developed that. Shout out to UP versus Ateneo last year. Could not miss at all. The 10 for 11. But yeah, I believe in this guy's talent. I think he's the best big in UP. He was their second best player in the finals last season. I don't believe Deontay Miles deserves to play over him, but that's me. I'm not Coach Gold. Maybe kalbo rin ako at times, but I'm not Coach Gold. So hindi ko alam how he's gonna play this. I don't know how he's gonna rotate Noruka and Miles. So yun lang para sa akin. Sammy, where do you have Francis Noruka?
I listed him down. I'd put him in an honorable mention, but I had to pick. If I had to pick two, I went with Remogat and VJ Pre for UP.
All right. My other honorable mention, someone I considered for this top 10 list, I had Jared Bahay. Now I know a lot of UAAP fans, don't have Jared Bahay as high or even in consideration for a top 10 list like this. Because one, he doesn't put up the scoring numbers. My defense of Jared Bahay is he does the same thing that JD Kagulangan did for the UP Fighting Maroons in the past. I consider JD Kagulangan the best point guard in the UAAP for years, despite him scoring only single-digit points per game. He only averaged double-digit points per game in his final season with the UP Fighting Maroons when he actually made a mythical 5. All other years, he didn't score more than 10 points per game or never averaged yung double figures. So, or even had big scoring games. He never did, but he ran the offense, and you see it on the court. When Jared Bahay is on the court, the team is much better. The offense runs better. Ateneo goes on scoring runs. We saw it early last season. This guy is clutch. When it's fourth quarter, he takes over. It's the same thing in this preseason, even before the tragedy and even after. In their first game, back against Olfu, fourth quarter, he was scoreless, scored 7 points. Even after injuring his shoulder. He just shows up in the big moments. We can talk about the first game of the season when all three of us were there, Maui Sam, in the UST QPAV, when Jared Bahay just carried the Blue Eagles in the fourth quarter and in overtime to bring the Blue Eagles the win. We can talk about the triple overtime game when Jared Bahay single-handedly carried the Blue Eagles in the first and second overtime, just hitting three after three after three. This guy just makes big plays when needed. He's the engine of this Ateneo offense. He barely turns the ball over, and I think with this Louis Alas style of play, a more free flowing offense, a lot of the playmaking, a lot of the shots comes from the perimeter and from the guards. I think we'll see more scoring from Jared Bahay. I do hope so. Plus, he's not a bad defender anymore. I think if you watch him, he's no longer a cone. He's a very solid defender already. Took some notes from his backup, si Ian Espinosa.
Yeah, ako actually considered him strongly to be part of my uh, top 10. I think emphasis on strongly. I think if we
Siya ba
probably
yung
saw him
binump
more.
down mo? Siya ba yung binump
No, no,
down
no.
mo? Hindi.
He's not the one that I bump up down, but I consider him strongly. But just because we haven't seen Ateneo a lot because of the tragedy, it's a wait and see for me if Jared Bay can crack the top 10. Maybe we can revisit this after the season. Fingers crossed that he doesn't get injured. That shoulder doesn't get injured. Very bad news yung sa Olfu na injure niya, but he's okay. I think that's the biggest thing that Ateneo has to make sure of. He cannot get injured. They cannot afford him to get injured because the offense just looks different. Whether it was Coach Louis Alas' system, whether it was Coach Tab's system, the offense of Ateneo is different when JB is the one. Captain Bahay is the one running the show. So, yeah, very much so deserving to be part of the honorable mention list.
Yep. Actually, I listed down 3 names from Ateneo. Bahay Alas Tuanyo for me, but Bahay probably I would be the safest bet among those 3 guys.
Right. My next honorable mention, I did mention him, si Amela Sido. I think I already explained this. He's another perimeter option. The offense is gonna run through him for some possessions. But I give the edge I gave the edge to Mark Lemit just because I think he's the more priority op- offensive option and he's the better defender. Uh, any thoughts on having did you guys have Amel Acido as one of your honorable mentions?
Ako, I had him. I mentioned it earlier already. I just picked Crisostomo over uh Asido and Liemit, but I think maybe by the end of the season, I wouldn't be surprised if si Asido na yung number 2 guy sa UST. So, this guy has a ton of potential.
The
Okay,
next Dylan
next.
Ababu.
Shooter din, no? Halos same nga ng shooting form, to be honest. All right, next. I had the other friend of Boleros, our guest, si Mason Amos. I think Maui gave him a breakout player in our potential breakout players episode. I think it's gonna be very important for the De La Salle Green Archers. And tama si Maui, I think the opportunity is there for Mason to finally have that big season. Just because they have, pretty few of frontline options in La Salle. I don't think any one of those frontline options has the shooting that Mason Amos has. And with how La Salle plays, and they play small for majority of the time, they will need Mason Amos to be on the floor to shoot a lot. I didn't put him there because honestly, what else does he do other than shoot? He's gonna be important. Maybe he does some occasional post ups, but they never ran post ups for Mason Amos last season. So I don't know if they're gonna go to that this season. We all know his struggles as a perimeter defender. He's still a pretty decent post defender. He's not a shot blocker, but he can block some shots. He did have a big block against Gani Stevens in Game 3 of the finals last season. Um, yeah, just in terms of shooting and maybe for perhaps the numbers, I put Mason here. I'm wondering, Maui Sam, if you had him, if you considered him.
Yes,
Ah,
he's the
okay,
guy
go
I bump
Maui.
off. Sam, unahan na kita. He's the guy that I
Oh,
Okay,
bump off
okay.
from my top 10. Siyempre, I would pick him because I picked him as my breakout player. And this is a guy who won Defensive Player of the Game in Phil Oil Games, which I do not agree with 100% siguro, but huge improvement on the defensive end. I think it's now or never. Diba? This is last playing year and the ceiling is not as high, but this guy is still gonna be a pro player just because of his, as Gab mentioned, his biggest asset, yung shooting niya, which I think they will use more this season with Jacob Cortez on the pick and roll. I think si Amos is primed to get more scoring opportunities because they lost a lot of players who were consistently scoring. 'Di ba? Marasigan and him are probably the ones that will get the biggest bump. Si Pablo will not score a lot of points but will be impactful for Lasal. I think Amos, for Lasal to be successful, Amos has to be a consistent top scorer for Lasal.
Yeah, so actually, interesting na si Amos yung binump down ni Maui because I also had Amos in my number 10. Three guys actually. It was Lemit, Humamoy, and Amos for me. I went with Humamoy. I feel like Humamoy would get a ton more usage or is more important to NU. Gab, you talked about the value of Humamoy and how no one can replace Humamoy on that team. I think Mason is valuable to Lasal also, but Lasal is just a lot more deep, a lot deeper talent wise. So I bumped Mason down from number 10 because of that. But I do agree with what you guys said. He will get a ton of touches or a ton of opportunity this year also just because they don't have a Mike Phillips or a playable FSA this coming season, and he has that very unique skill set as a big man who can shoot threes. Defensively, I think surprisingly, I was impressed with him, especially nung final. So I feel like he can turn on yung defensive intensity when necessary.
all right.
I think sorry, I think the only ironic thing about Mason Amos is he's probably gonna break out, but he's probably gonna guard FSAs, which is something that he. This is just one of the main reasons he transferred, diba, to Lasal. But anyway,
Okay. More honorable mentions. Maybe this one is a surprise. I had to give a shout out to the Adamson Falcons. Ray Allen Torres.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you're gonna pick someone from Adamson, it's gonna be one of their three guards: si
Yep.
Montebon, si Erlon, and si Ray Allen Torres. And out of all of those guys, I think the more complete scorer of the bunch, because none of them are defenders, but the more complete scorer of the bunch is Ray Allen Torres. He broke out last season. I think he was our unanimous pick for breakout player of the season or most improved for season 88. But Ray Allen Torres is a microwave scorer. I am legit scared of the fourth quarter whenever this guy is on the floor because he can just turn it on. He's a spitfire guard. He can shoot threes. He can shoot mid rangers. He can get to the basket. He can get to the free throw line. He can just turn it on. I do remember second round Ateneo versus Adamson. We were up big, but there was a run by Ray Allen Torres just by himself, scoring 8 straight points, hitting two threes, and I was scared because I knew this guy could go on scoring runs. I saw it, I think, in the UP game in against UP when they lost in the second round. He was scoring a bunch in the fourth quarter. I think he had 20 plus points in that game. Was on fire. So yeah, out of all the Adamson players, out of their three guards, I think si Ray Allen Torres deserves a shout out. I did consider him as a top 10, being one of the better guards in the league. Sammy, Maui.
Yeah, I
Were you
agree.
surprised? Oh,
No,
you
no, no,
agree,
no.
talaga.
I agree. I mean, if you go through the best players of every team, when you go through Adamson, you have to look at Ray Allen Torres and the other guards. But I actually also picked Ray Allen Torres over the other guys. Remember, UP lost to Adamson because of this guy. Uh, so I think he can really will Adamson to a win in season 89. And medyo we're very down on Adamson this coming season, but I think give Adamson like a couple of wins just because of this guy.
Yeah, nawala na si Steve Nash, Enrique. So kailangan may crazy name na umasenso. So maybe it's Ray Allen Torres who will break out this season. Maybe si LeBron James Daep
Pwede din LeBron
the year
James Daep.
after para tuloy-tuloy. But yeah, I also pick si Ray Allen Torres. He's probably the best player sa Adamson and I like his development. If there's a player, I mean, there are rumors, di ba si Gamber is gonna sit out. If there's a player Gamber has to look at, si Ray Allen Torres is somebody to look at, di ba? There are a lot of success stories from players who sit out a year and come back stronger and better. And on other news, Adamson actually won the game that you mentioned to us, Gab, against LaSalle. They were
Wow.
able to beat LaSalle
Okay.
in that Roa this city tournament.
Wow. Okay. I gotta watch that. All right. Next for some, I think last two or last three na yung nalista ko. I had my boy PJ Palacelo. I
Wala.
did not. Oh,
Wow.
wow. I had him as an honor. Oh, by the way, this is not in order. The- these are the guys I considered. I had PJ Palacelo. Medyo nahiya ako na the two of you guys had him in your top 10 and I only considered him. I didn't have him. Uh yeah, si PJ, it as you said, Sam, I could have put him in Humamoy spot. I think silang dalawa are definitely going to be options 1 and 2
Mhm.
respectively for for NU. Ang thing ko lang kay PJ why I did not put him in top 10 because I do think he goes on cold streaks. There are times he gets into so much foul trouble or he
Foul
gets
trouble talaga eh. I think it's the foul
yeah,
trouble.
na he gets pulled off the court and you see one game he'll have 14 points and 12 rebounds and the next game he'll have 0 and 2. Diba? There are times he still
True.
does that. So, yeah, but when he's on the court and when he's in the paint posting up, not even Mike Phillips could stop him. So that I think that tells you all you need to know this guy's
Big
talent.
boy.
Hey, uh, you've said your piece about PJ Palacelo, and perhaps my last honorable mention and the only rookie I considered for this top 10 was Kiefer Alas. Uh, I love this guy's game. I think he's pretty talented, 3-level scorer, and he's gonna have the ball in his hands. As I said when we picked him for our Rookie of the Year favorite, he has the biggest role of all rookies. The offense runs through him and Jared Bahay, and I think he's gonna put up a ton of big scoring numbers for this season. I won't be surprised if he has a 25-point game. Heck, even a 30-point game when he finally hits his jumpers. So yeah, I think he's a pretty talented player. So key for a last thoughts, Maui Sam.
Yeah, I'll just have to say Kiefer Alas to all those posting na is getting favors just because his dad is the coach. I think that's crazy. Even when si Coach Tab was the coach, Kiefer Alas was getting a lot of usage. Maybe not a lot of minutes, but he was getting a lot of usage when he was on the floor. I think that's how talented si Kiefer Alas. I think it's a bit crazy to say that the only reason why this guy is probably gonna be the rookie of the year, is probably gonna be one of the top scorers for Ateneo next season, is because his dad is the coach. I think that's how good this guy was one of the top players in FIBA Asia. Diba? This guy was able to get an opportunity in AJ Debanza's former high school. So this guy is good. So I think that's all I want to say about Kiefer Alas.
It does play a factor though, Maui. His dad being the coach. It does play a factor, but you
Yeah.
cannot deny that this guy is super good. Is super talented.
Yeah, I mentioned already. It was Bahay Alacentuano for me from Ateneo that were part of my honorable mentions. I think Gab, you mentioned everyone on my list, except si Jorik. But you sort of talked about Jorik, so I
Yeah,
also
yari yung tayo
put
ni
Jorik
Jorik.
Bautista kasi
Yari yung tayo ni Jorek na to.
that guy's just clutch, and I was hoping na hindi na siya bumalik ng season
Di, di
89, to
bali
be
kung may top
honest.
10 clutch players, Jorik, for sure, you'll be
Jorik
in that
for sure
list.
number one. Yep.
Maui, who else did you consider that we didn't mention? Was there anyone
Actually,
else?
actually, you said everyone. Some of the
Wow.
players
Okay, okay.
were part of the top 10. Although si Kiefer Alas, I did not include him anymore as my honorable mention. I gave the props to Bahay just because he is a veteran. And Sam Situano naman, I'm not sure if he'll get enough usage, but I think he'll be an important cog for Ateneo.
Uh, Siguro I didn't think of it today, but think of it now. Siguro a shout out to, again, as Maui said, player X of UE. Maybe there
Sasabihin ko
is a
pa lang.
UE.
Yun,
I was about
yun
to
din
say it
sasabihin ko eh. I
before we
did
end.
not bother. Wala pa akong
Hindi,
napapanood.
Sam, who knows? We might
Who
have a
knows? Who
Topher
knows?
Lagat
Yeah,
who's averaging 20 points per game. And we might have to consider him as one of our top 10 players of the season.
that's true.
Just, di ba? I mean,
Somebody
Yui
has
can't
to
score.
score.
Oh, di ba? Yung Yui can't score zero.
Yeah.
Someone has to put the ball in the basket. So, someone from UE you has to do it. So, shout out to UE. Sige, Sam, you sign us
Player
off.
X. That's it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed that conversation. Comment down below your number 6 to 10, your top 10 picks if you haven't yet. Let us know your thoughts on our picks, on our honorable mentions. Did we miss anyone? And who's your pick for player X of the UE Red Warriors? We'll see you again next time. If you haven't yet, please like, share, subscribe to the channel. Stay tuned for UAP Season 89. Malapit na. Bye-bye. Ingat.